mentioned, I think you were in Honduras and you were talking to this woman who was married to her husband, and where was he at? Am I getting the story right?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell that story for us.
Yeah. And let me just back up just a paragraph in the book to say, okay, why did I tell this story? Because, okay, so I just said a fuzzy church is fuzzy and is not as, strict on ethics and beliefs, things like that. And people in a bounded church can feel like, yeah, we don't want to go to this centered thing because our beliefs matter. These behaviors matter, important. And what I advocate is that a centered church actually can lead to more profound transformation in discipleship than a bounded one. So a bounded feels strict, but it tends to be superficial. So what I talked about is in Honduras, there's common law marriage is very, very common in Honduras, in part because of finances and people can't afford to have a party and reception, but other reasons as well. And churches, both Catholic and Protestant, emphasize strongly people getting legally married. And that's a good thing. And I'm in favor of that. But what happens is, okay, so it's a bounded church. So, and this church where I've been working with, they had people that were not legally married. And so those people, they're on the wrong side of the line. So they couldn't be members. They couldn't participate in the Lord's Supper. They couldn't be leaders in the church. They're outside. And the church I was working with, they didn't go this far, but I've been in some other churches where they would, and it's generally women, that they would call them, fornicators. And so just think, this person, they're not legally married. So yeah, so officially they're fornicators. So this church I was working with, we read Galatians together, and we said, okay, we want to step away from this bounded group way of doing things. And so they take this on. And so what they decided to do, so now they're centered and they're looking at these three women in their church that weren't legally married, have been attending all the time. And so they're saying, okay, well, what does it mean to be centered? And what the elders, leaders of that church says, well, we need to go and talk with these women. We see that we're talking in terms of the diagram. We see their arrow is headed towards the center, but they are in this situation that we think is inappropriate. They should be legally married. So I tell the story. The leaders go and visit this woman to discern. And I was right there, just to feel the difference. If they're in a bounded church, they don't have to do that. She's not legally married. She's out. That's all we need to do. But a centered church is going to walk with the person, discern what's going on. So I talk in the book of, qualities of a centered church, of compassion, curiosity. So they're going in. So they talk to this woman, and as they interact with her, they find she and her common law husband have been together for, I think it was 17 years. And at least she had been faithful to him. He wasn't a believer. I'm not sure about him. But, they've been in a faithful relationship together, raised children together. And she said to the church leaders, I want to get married. I agree it's the right thing to do, but my common law husband refuses. He won't get married. And the leaders asked more questions, explored their relationship. Okay, so now fast forward a little bit. The leaders leave her house. They're standing on the street in front of her house, talking about the situation. And one of the men says, she may not be legally married, but her relationship with her common law marriage, with her common law husband, it's actually better than my relationship with my wife, legally married wife. And what happened from that encounter with that woman is two things. One, they decided, we think this woman is headed towards Jesus. She's part of us. And they invited her to start taking communion today, or at least last time I was in Honduras, she was on the church council. Like, she's in now. They discerned, yes, she's in. But here, I think the beautiful thing is the leaders, how did they respond to that? They said, we think we need to work on our marriage relationships. So what came out of that was they did a series. They looked around at the church. Who's the couple in here who has the best relationship? and they asked them to lead a series of studies for other couples in the church on improving their marriage relationship. So the centered approach, it's messier, it takes more work, but it opens up possibilities that are complex for like this woman, and I'd argue the potential of deeper transformation because you get past just the superficial rules.